Hello, chess family. It's me, National Master Jesse James, and it's time for another instructive chess miniature. All right, we got a good one for you today. Here we have Magnus Carlsen just destroying this Dutch defense here by Sergey. Ooh, this is definitely a Dutch destroyer. Let's see how Magnus does this. Here we go. We start off with knight to f3, and this is a real interesting move because this one will typically transfer or turn into another opening. Typically, they go d4, maybe like a Catalan. Maybe you can even fianchetto. Knight f3 really keeps the options open. Well, Sergey did not want to keep options open with changing to too many different openings, so he goes ahead and plays pawn f5, and here we go. Now we got the Dutch variation of the Dutch defense. A very aggressive way to play here for black. How do we know? Well, already with the first move, we're going over and trying to control the king side. If you control the king side, you can get king side attacks. And here, Magnus does a very cool idea. He does a reverse idea, meaning, well, it's actually not in this opening, but colors reverse. What I mean by that? Well, here, white has an idea of playing pawn to f4, the bird's opening, and here there's a very aggressive way to play against it. You can play pawn to e5, and I highly recommend you try this. So what does white do here? Well, it's a free pawn, so what wouldn't you take? So f takes on e5. d6, another gambit. Here we go, we have what's called From's gambit, and after pawn takes, bishop takes d6, and black has a decent win rate here, especially for those who don't know how to play it. For instance, knight to f3, pawn to g5, and here we're just going to say that, well, white didn't know what they were doing. Play something like pawn to h3, and it's game over here, bishop to g3 checkmate. You'd be surprised how many people will fall for this because they're really caught off balance at this point. So here, Magnus does just the same thing. Here with knight f3, f5, he goes ahead and plays d3 to prepare pawn to e4. Now I have no, I don't believe Magnus would not have played after knight to f6 over here. He would have not played pawn to e4 to go for this gambit line. And here with Zugzart's opening, here we go, Litzian's gambit deferred. And the same thing happens here after pawn takes, knight takes. What do you play here? Bishop to d3. And look at this. This has a 95% win rate in this variation alone. Well, with that being said, his opponent was not up to task. So after this f5 move, d3, d6 gets played. Pawn to e4. And here, Magnus just grabs the center all by himself. All right, here we go. Black went ahead and played pawn to e5. Of course, taking the pawn here, I think would only help out Magnus' position. Why? After d takes on e4, one of the weaknesses of the Dutch defense is the light squares. So here, bishop c4 can get played and control the light squares all the way over here. All right, so back to the game. Here, black went ahead and just played pawn e5, trying to keep it nice and simple. And here, Magnus goes ahead and plays knight c3. Here you can already see that Magnus has done a good job and has gotten opening advantage here with his development. Black went ahead and played knight c6. And what do you do when you have an opening advantage as far as development goes? Open up the position. What does that mean? Make pawn trades here so that you can open up the files and diagonals to attack. Remember, if you have more pieces out than your opponent because they're making too many pawn moves, this is the perfect opportunity to do that. And Magnus does this in master fashion. Here we go. He starts off with his first pawn trade. Pawn takes on f5. Bishop takes on f5. And now, pawn to d4. And this looks like one of those intuition moves. There's so many moves in this situation that black and white can play here. You have to just trust yourself and say, look, I'm playing by the opening principles and opening up the position when I need to. If you don't do this, it's pretty much impossible because you cannot calculate everything. Yes, you can try, but you don't have enough mental endurance in the game. I mean, some people have a lot. When I think of like people that are very good at calculating, I'm thinking people like let's see, Nakamura. Nakamura is really good when it comes to this. But at some point, as a chess player, you need to trust yourself and trust your intuition, which is a built-up amount of information that, you know, when this position happens, I do this. And Magnus Carlsen does exactly that. By playing a move like d4, again, this is not a move that you can really calculate everything through. Or maybe he did have the opening preparation. But either way, you have to trust yourself in these games and open up the position. You do what the position demands. Here we go. Magnus' opponent goes ahead and plays knight takes d4. Not the best move in the situation, but again, people won't know how to react when you play your intuition moves. And here we go. The game gets very good for Magnus. Knight takes, pawn takes, queen takes on d4. Some people might be saying, hey, your queen's out a little too early here, but hey, that's okay. You control the center. Someone also might be saying, hey, he could take a pawn over here. Trust yourself. If black did go ahead and play bishop takes on c2 here, don't matter, bishop c4. Remember, you have a huge opening advantage with your development here, and this is not the time to be grabbing pawns. Here, Sergey doesn't even think about that and just goes ahead and tries to keep developing his pieces. He went ahead and played knight to f6, And here, well, let's just keep developing our pieces. There's two good moves here. You can either bring out your light square bishop or your dark square bishop. And here, Magnus chooses to play bishop c4, which I really do like in this game. Why? Because again, it's going to be hard for black to castle because you can't put yourself in the check. He's going to need to waste a few more moves here like he does right now and plays pawn to c6. Now this does have a good idea here by trying to get the pawn to d5, but remember one of our opening principles or our sigma laws, do not make too many pawn moves. All right, here we go. What's the next piece you want to move here? Well, here you have two good options. You can either castle or bring out the bishop. And here, Magnus chooses the right move here. He's going to go ahead and play bishop to g5. Hey, shouldn't we castle as soon as possible? Yes, this is very good, but here you're keeping the options open. Notice you can castle queenside or kingside in this game. And because black doesn't have many pieces out, there's no rush to do it. Yes, black could play something like queen e7 check, but it would not take Magnus too long in this position to play a very good move here with something like king to d2 or king to f1. Why these moves? Because now you're allowing your rook to come over and the queen is actually misplaced. And there's many moves here that many bad players would play very fast. Plus you're already in a pin. Yes, you can castle queenside over here, but after rook a to e1, now the queen must move. Let's say it goes to d7. The king can just jump back over here to c1, and we've done what's called castling by hand. Or if you're like me, you'll get a little greedy here and look about taking on a7 or maybe taking on f6. Oof, a very bad position already. So black went ahead and played pawn to c6 here. And well, let's develop that dark square bishop, develop with a threat. What do you play? Simple chess, bishop to g5. And here, one of the worst things you can do, this reminds me of Morphy's, what's the name of the game again? The Opera House game. Here, black played pawn to b5 to attack Morphy's bishop too. Now, Morphy went ahead and sacrificed his bishop. Magnus doesn't need to do that. But remember, do not try to attack your opponent with your pawns whenever you have less pieces out. Magnus is already ready to castle queenside or kingside, and black is still a tempo behind, and now he's wasting more time. Here we go. Bishop just goes back to b3. Bishop to e7, and here, perfect time to castle. Which way would you castle? I will say both ways of castling are good, but which way would you castle? This will tell you a little bit about your personality in chess, whether if you're an attacking player or just a solid classical player all around. So which way did you castle? Hopefully you did like Magnus and played the position and went ahead and castled queenside. Why is it good like this? Well, notice how your rook is already on the open file here, and you're putting pressure on the backwards d6 pawn, and only one more move, and your rook comes to e1, and all and all pieces are going to be good. Oof. I mean, you could do the exact same thing by castling kingside, but that takes 1, 2, 3 moves, and because we're so up in development, let's try to save as much time as possible. All right, so castles queenside happen. And here you can already tell this is just a beautiful position. All of white's pieces are looking great over here. Black's king is stuck in the center. He cannot castle because, again, remember, you can't put yourself into check. All right, black went ahead and played queen to d7 here. Simple chess, rook h to e1. It's a party. Invite all your friends. Here, all of Magnus's friends are out and ready to attack. And here, black went ahead and just played king to d8. Why did he play that? I mean, you can't castle kingside. You definitely want to get this king out of the center. And, well, if you castle queenside, you can already see that there's opening holes over here. I believe the reason why he went to king to d8 because he was thinking he might have time to go something like king to c7 here. Unfortunately, this was just not the right path here. And, well, his king just gets obliterated. Remember, when your opponent's king's in the center, open it up. Look for pawn trades, and you will get open files and diagonals. So, here after king to d8... here we go. Magnus doesn't waste any time at all. He's going to take advantage of this king. What does he play? Hopefully you can figure it out. Push pause to see. Can you find the move here? All right, hopefully you push pause and try to figure this out. Here, Magnus takes no refuge for his opponent. Rook takes on e7. Well, if you don't take back, you're just losing. Here he went ahead and took back with his queen. King takes would fall into the same kind of ideas here. And here was the idea, queen to f4, a double attack. Always be mindful of your opponent's weaknesses. The weaknesses here, the f5 bishop, and the d6 pawn. Here we have a classic double attack here. So, well, he's going to be breaking through whether you want to or not. Here, bishop to d7 got played. And here, another very strong move here. Remember this saying, when you see a good move, look for a better move. Here, rook takes d6, by all means, is a good move. Puts pressure on the knight, and, well, white is just winning here. With that being said, always look to bring in more pieces. And with that, he went ahead and played knight to e4 here, and the knight is taboo. You cannot take this guy. And here, well, black went ahead and played pawn to d5 here. What happens if we try to take? Both ways of taking will just lose really fast. Queen takes on e4, bishop takes f6 check, and then we're going to go ahead and take. And of course, if you take with your knight, this is just a pin and a win. Bishop takes queen over here in check. All right, back to the game. Here, black tries to keep his pawn at least a little bit safe and plays pawn d5. If you let the rook get opened up here, the game will be over. The game is over pretty much either way. But here, it's going to be over a little bit faster. All right, here we go. d5 when it was played to attack the knight. And here, well, simple chess. Let's just take. And, well, he went ahead and played pawn h6 here. Hopefully you guys know why can't we take on f6. Taking here would lose the game very fast. G takes on f6, and bishop takes f6 for a nice pin and win. You cannot try to play rook f8 to pin back because the bishop takes back in check. So black has this nice idea, h6. Okay, let's move the bishop. Bishop to h4. And here was his idea, pawn to g5 here, forking the bishop and the queen. Yes, I'm going to go ahead and lose a piece, but you know what? Maybe I can get it back with this over here. It's going to mess up my pawn structure, but I can try to win back my piece. Unfortunately, he missed Magnus's last move. All right, white to move. What do you play to win in this position? All right, hopefully you push pause and try to figure this last one out. If you figured it out, good job. You're a very strong chess player. What was the move here? Remember, be mindful of your opponent's weak pieces. And this one was no different. Here we have the undefended rook on h8, undefended rook on a8. Well, we can only attack one of these with a nice idea, and that was queen to d4, and black gives up. It is game over here. What was the threat? Well, if the pawn did take on h4, here we have the nice idea. Knight takes on d5 for a double attack. The knight is attacking the queen, and the queen is opened up to attack the rook. Can we just defend the rook? Yes, you're more than welcome to, but as I said earlier, if you're able to open up the file here to attack the king, it is game over. So let's just say the queen goes back to f8 right here. There's lots of winning moves here. One of the easy ones that I can say right now is just knight to f6, and here you're going to be winning at least the bishop over here, but the computer's a lot meaner than me. It's going queen takes on h4 check, and there's going to be no good square for this king to go to. King to c8, knight e7 check. Oof, yes, this looks dirty already. Going back to the game, after queen d4, you might ask yourself, what if we try rook to f8 here? Well, simple chess here. Now we just have knight takes on d7. It doesn't matter how you take back, king takes or rook takes. The bishop is able to run away, and well, look at this position. Even bishop takes d5 ideas are in mind just to open up to attack this king. This king is not safe. He's just trapped in the center here. And well, Magnus just did a very beautiful miniature here, showing up the correct idea here. When your opponent's king is in the center, look for pawn trades to open up files and diagonals. Well, guys, hope you enjoyed this game. We'll see you in the next one.